yard to the field. Are you kidding me? And an incredible catch. You are kidding me. Oh my God. One of the plays of the year.
It's finals time here in Waterloo. It's the Women's Masters Final. Sage out of Quebec taking on Sauer out of Halifax, Nova Scotia. Both of these teams have kind of marched their way to this final. So it's going to be a battle of two titans. Who's going to get the gold? We're going to find out right now. Sage in green on offense. Disc in the hands of Wah. Keeping things going over to Marie-Ève Robert. Shaw's working with some pace and zipping it through for the score. And Skrotsky-Beauvert, you'll hear her name a lot. She collects the goal. The assist from Janique Arsenault. Theo 1 here with Clay Howlett. Clay, how are you feeling about this matchup?
Pretty excited. Both these teams have definitely faced challenges throughout the tournament, but none so that they weren't able to comfortably pull out the win in all their games. Chatting with both teams, they felt that this is probably going to be their hardest matchup. I mean, of course, when you're meeting in finals, you already knew that. But even before we got here through the bracket play in the tournament, it looked as if these two teams were destined to meet each other here, expecting this to be the challenge that they would have to face off against.
It's tough, too, because you come into a tournament, you start besting a lot of teams, as we discussed in the Open here. How do you respond when there's some adversity? Because often when you're playing in the pool plays or even some of the bracket play, you're not facing that challenge.
Yeah, well, it's really tough. It's really tough to think, okay, like we are, clearly in control of this tournament. We got this. We're the best team here and so forth. And suddenly a team kind of comes in and smacks you in the mouth and they're like, hey, what's up? Like, we are here to play against you, really put you on your heels. And if you haven't had a chance to prepare for that and shake that off earlier in the tournament, it could really hit you crucially in a final.
That's what I'm very curious about for both of these teams is who's going to blink first, kind of like a prize fight we talk about. And who's going to blink first, who's going to get punched in the mouth first, and how do they respond? This is Sauer's offensive line in white, moving things over to Erica Barber. Barber going deep, and that throw is not going to work out, looking for Catherine McPhail.
A little bit of a gustier day here in Waterloo. We've seen the wind pushing a lot of throws down into the turf.
You can even hear it in our microphones as well.
But Andrea Patterson with the run through D, and then no conversion, unfortunately, for Sauer.
They got to take advantage of those opportunities because Sage is well-oiled machine. They have a lot of players from IRIS, the top program there in Quebec, and they've kind of graduated them into the Masters scene, so they've played a lot together. This is also a battle, Clay, of a team that has some Masters Team Canada players and one that doesn't. They have Tanis Traynor, who was an invitee to the East tryout. remember seeing her at the tryout when I attended. So they have some experience there, but this is a team with some Masters level players at the Team Canada level.
That's right. I did see Janique Saint-Cyr on the sideline as well. She's playing with the mixed squad, but I believe she's injured.
Now things moving over for the D-line. LaBerge, one of those aforementioned Team Canada Masters players. Disc in the hands now of Roberge, and things are zipping forward. Can't even keep track because Sage is on the move. The Brou-Leduc. Finding LaBerge. LaBerge going up the line. Now a few yards away. LaBerge getting the reset. Fakes. Still near the end zone, and LaBerge really quarterbacking this offense. Doorstep. Hits it for the score. That's Marianne Roberge on the receiving end.
Shauna Howard providing a lot of reset opportunity from the front of the stack, while Ouellette was always available behind. And I heard a lot of communication from Sage there to ensure that no one was losing their patience at the front of the end zone. It would be the easy shots, taking the sure shots, things that couldn't be contested by the defense to run their end zone. And when you're in that red zone, if it's going to take 10 to 20 throws to succeed, I mean, you do that. You don't need to punch it in. You really lose momentum with your team and let the other team back in the game when you're turning it over on your end zone line. So if you got to throw 20, 30 times to score that point, do it.
And oftentimes you see teams try to jet it into the end zone. It's like this force field, a barrier almost.
Yeah.
And you just want to get it in there. And it's like, no, you can get passes outside of it, eventually chip it in. You don't need to get it all in one throw. And sometimes you do see that. We'll highlight some of the top scores of this tournament as this game proceeds, but Roberge has been one of the top players for this team, had 13 points coming into this game. Their closest game was a matchup against Cora in pool play where they won 12-9. Alexandra Nelson, one of the top goal scorers for Sauer. Resetting it back, finding McPhail. Disc was bobbled, and was it caught? It is. Caldwell. A smooth handler of the backfield for this Halifax side.
So interestingly, observers do make active up and down. No, not up and down calls. My bad. That is up to the players. I do believe from my perspective that was up, but Marianne Roberge checking in, saying that from her perspective, I think it was down, but she's leaving it up to the players involved in the play to make the call.
You see, I see, at least on my vantage point, a sour power sign, so that is a fun times here, Clay.
I think they wrote that on the back of the Hi Mom sign.
Oh, is it? And for those who maybe didn't catch the open final, how did their sibling team, I guess, or relational team in Dead Circus do in the open division?
Champions!
El Champions.
El Champions, they were so consistent in their game. Their O-line was just clicking along. D-line got fired up. Nick House making some crucial defensive plays at the end of the game to bring home that gold for Dead Circus. They were on a mission, as last year they lost on Universe Point to Richard and Associates. So
yes,
to get the win,
that was a very close. They were up by a few.
Yeah,
if I
they
remember
lost
correctly,
on Universe, so they got their revenge. Then in the mixed final, we got Eric Blanchard that just won with his team, and he was on KWG that got beat by Cold last year.
Hayden left-hand snag. Keeping things going. A little high release backhand. That's going to stay in with the toes of McPhail. But there's a pick call. That will gummy things up. And you often see that in a vertical stack, Clay, where...
Oh, really?
teams get a little bunched up sometimes.
Theo, I may never get invited to do this again with the amount I've been talking about that. Let's...
Yeah, your foot in your mouth there.
Yeah, a little bit.
Good grab under pressure there from Frampton. Little travel call. In the new rules, that is an active move if, unless Caldwell is contesting here. Caldwell could have just tapped it in and kept going.
Yeah, you don't have to stop play. You can grab the disc, come back to where it was, tap the ground, and just keep things going. Everyone else can keep cutting.
Nice grab under pressure. That was Crystal Caldwell. Little lefty flip 5 yards away. A couple players going. That throw is going to sail over multiple players and be a turnover for Sauer here. This would be big, Clay, if they get broken again.
Yeah, that'll be a big momentum swing. The error by Sauer there, that throw was kind of errant, but every single person in the stack except for Alex Nelson at the back cut. You cannot have an entire stack flood to one side. Way too much traffic. That brought all the defenders over there. Saj able to get a hand up on that because everybody was in the area.
Howard now with the disc, assisted the first break, which was the second point of this game. And now some miscommunication in the backfield. You hate to see that if you're a Saj fan in the audience. You don't want to see that miscommunication right in that part of the field. Hayden in isolation, doesn't get it. McPhail needs someone, and it's knocked away. A great block, and that's how you get back an end zone turnover.
That is how you get back. You just grind that out. Saj showing they're just going to be charging athletically at everything right now and are really shutting down all the options for Sauer on offense.
Disc on the far side. See if they can get on the move here. They have Roberge as well. They have a lot of solid D-line or players on their D-line with that Team Canada Masters experience. You know, a lot of them have played for Iris. Close to 15 from what I heard from their coach. That inside shot's going to float. Grab with two hands strong. Keeping things moving here. Beauregard.
Plant elevated to make that huge grab to keep what we've seen is these floaty throws being forced by this gusty wind today.
It's a little bit deceptive. There's no flags in the background right now for you to see, but there is a bit of a gust wind. Howard, nice power move to that open side. Little couple fakes, inside sneak shot, and that's going to work out for Saj. That's 3 straight. Roberge finding Caroline Beauregard. Break train is rolling right now, Clay, and this, if you're Halifax, I know Halifax was in the chat for some other games. They're probably in there right now spamming it a little bit.
Yeah.
They're feeling a little nervous,
Feeling
Clay.
a little nervous. I bet they're feeling like me right now, not surprised to see a timeout call from Sauer here.
Yes. You need it right now. And if we look at what's happened so far, what are you seeing from what is Saj doing, or is it more Sauer doing it to themselves?
This last point had to be Saj's defense in the red zone, in the end zone there. Saj was all over Sauer while they were trying to just punch it in the front. They had a lot of small passes right in front of the stack, not really swinging it around and attacking the break side, just trying to use their handlers right up front. And Saj was just matching them step for step, even doing some face guarding to get it done because they're just outmatching them athletically in the front. So I do think it's Saj's D, so much the pressure coming through. Maybe we haven't seen a block per se, but we're seeing a lot of shutdown defense that's forcing some choices that are really hard to complete.
And we talked about it at the top about the prize fight analogy, and Sauer, in their last 2 games, they beat Grind Mothers 15-8 in the quarters, and then Macrame out of Montreal 15-4. So those games weren't particularly close. Their closest contest was 13-10 to Vintage to open the tournament. So after that, they've been cruising a little bit, and sometimes when you're in that cruise control, things can get a little lackadaisical. Not that that's exactly what they've been doing, but they just got to dial in a little bit. For example, that one throw that kind of sailed over multiple receivers, you got to have that a little bit crisper if you want to connect against a very good team in Saj who's coming for that gold.
Yeah, I mean, and with Saj and their experience, the level of play they've played at, this is not a team that, you know, if they start on defense against you and you commit an error and suddenly you find yourself on defense, you can't count on Saj to make a mistake. You can't count on them to have their own miscues or their own errors so that you'll get it back on offense and it'll be okay. Saj has the talent that they're going to capitalize on everything, which we've seen so far. So Sauer going to have to value the disc, open up some bigger runs, I think, or some bigger moves to try and get open, especially when the disc is tight to any line.
Zone look here from Saj, a couple of the same players like Roberge and Howard on the field. But for Sauer, it's a whole new group. They're going with their defensive line on the field. And I like that change. You give those O-line players a rest, a little bit of time to think about, but this throw is going to hang and be batted away. Pascal Chat-E with the block. Bro Duke getting it over to Howard. Howard continuing things to the break side here. Sage has been quick with the disc movement here, Clay, and that's been a recipe for their success.
Yeah, you can't adjust on defense if the disc is moving too quickly for you to react to the next thing. Speaking of reacting to the next thing, that was Shauna Howard thinking about the pass she was going to throw after she caught it. Excuse me, that was number 9, Marianne Roberge, thinking about her next pass. And commits the drop.
Someone we've been talking about a lot already. Howard was almost there for the block, trying to avoid contact, see if there's a call. T-Camp was the one receiving the disc, Wendy T-Camp.
Howard immediately shaking her head saying, yeah, I'm not contesting any of that. So foul called, uncontested. T-Camp will keep it.
Just powering a backhand. Can Tana's trainer get there? That is just a far throw. I think that's more of a high stall punt situation.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, like we said, not seeing a ton of blocks from Sage. I mean, we did see one batted away, but that was because Sage is forcing these high pressure decisions, right? Running out of time. They're not great choices on throws, and then Sage is just capitalizing.
Sage played Fishbowl, which is a big tournament with some Team Canada teams. Sixers was there. Iris was there. So they got a lot of development there. Maybe not necessarily the full roster, but they got players at that event, and that's going to help you building up for this tournament. Sauer playing a couple tournaments as well, I believe. But in the East Coast, it's hard to get some of that competition that you would get, let's say, in Quebec.
Yeah, something they often remind us about. Like it's a hard time to even practice together sometime or get players that can be around, as they always have to drive. They both have to drive to meet each other.
Nice grab there from Chati. Dangerous times here right now if you're a Sauer fan. Going around the horn. Not in just yet. Trudel finding it forward. Over to Chati.
Stellar movement by Sage, taking the disc all the way around to the other side of the field, forcing the defense to try and catch up and adjust. Like we said earlier, if you're moving that disc quick, the defense can't adjust, can't throw on a trap, can't throw on a poach because there's just too much happening. You know, you're getting new information after every pass. So we've got 4 observers this game. I'm not able to see everybody who's on here. I see Sheila Quintos.
Jeff Peters.
There's
Linda Kudo.
And his back's to me right now. I'm not sure who that is. Oh, we'll get it to you.
It's either.
Oh, it's Richard Haight.
It's Richard Haight or Chris Chazzy, because those
That's
are
not Chazzy.
Okay, it's not Chazzy.
Chazzy has a
those
very
are the only
distinct
observers
mustache.
I don't know right now.
It's
so
a glorious mustache.
Oh, you're right. I remember. I remember now. Yeah, you got it. Hey, 4-0. You're not necessarily out of it yet. I will make my own jab on my own team that I played at this tournament. We were up 10-4 and lost. So
that was against Ensom. They made a point of telling me that.
So it is possible. It is possible. So Sauer got to keep the belief. Hit the chat. Send your well wishes, Halifax. They need it right now.
Jetsko play from Sauer doesn't pan out.
Yeah, that was Barber trying to get that. That was a low throw, though. Little reset. Finding LeMay. That's break side movement. And Dyer trying to get there, but you do like what you're seeing. Side-to-side movement, really making the defense have to orbit and rotate. And it's been leading to their success, just not on that occasion.
No, but a lot of offensive discipline from Sage here. Errors will happen, but we're seeing their plan. It's very obvious.
And for Sauer, you just want to see some of them get their flow. It doesn't look like they have their legs in terms of their movement of their bodies, but it's just the flow of the ultimate itself.
Yeah.
It's not right there.
Timing's not quite there.
Dyer has the disc now, resets it. LeMay grabbing that under pressure.
Pick called.
LeMay has done a bunch of coaching as well. Nice to see her playing it. Coaches for Sage, Jean-Philippe Riopel and Chuck Canton. No coaches listed for Sauer, so player run. Nice grab through the contact from Robert. Some of these offensive line players on the field. Nice grab to snag that one by Lauren Haley. And there's just immediate turn.
Hardest throw in ultimate. Throwing to a player 4 yards away that's running away from you. It's so difficult. If you don't get the proper lead on that, they have to stop, turn around, reach.
Inside shot.
It can be very difficult.
Dyer trying to get there. So multiple turnovers on this point.
Multiple turnovers.
3 apiece by my count.
If you're Saj, you don't like it, but you're not worried. This is a defensive point, right? You want to run their team, get them tired. You're up 4-0.
I'm going to keep, something in the audience might not like these analogies, but I'm going to keep with the boxing analogies. The body blows with the D-line. We talked about that a lot this weekend for our team. Because you might not necessarily get the breaks, because you're not going to get a break every time, as this throw is going to hang, caught by Barber. But you're going to wear out the offensive line having to play lots of offensive points. O-lines just want a quick huck for the score.
That's right.
Now can Saj punch this in. Robert walking over the disc. See if this Quebec side can be methodical here. Good catch there by Toutain. Going around the horn. And they'll get the break. That's Tracy Dyer on the reception.
Saj is just destroying with their lateral movement right now. Big, long swings that always have a player coming out of the stack or out of the handler set for an immediate continue. Such discipline on that offense is getting them the goal in the red zone every time.
So what do you do as the mark? I know you're trying to be committed to those flick sides up line, but they're just burning you on these arounds. And as soon as that first around happens, they get to the center of the field, and then it's around the horn we go. One of those didn't work out, but for the most part it has, and that's why we see the lead that they have. And also, Clay, right now the issue is, like we talked about, less flowy offense. They just don't look comfortable out there.
No. So to your first point on defense, what do you do? Well, you do something different. So like Saj just keeps going around, right? They keep getting the swing. You want to see Sauer say, all right, at the very least, if they're going to do that, let's make them take the inside shot. And when you're throwing that inside shot to someone laterally running across the field, it's going to be a harder throw to get ahead of the receiver. Maybe they'll double back and make some defense, but at least you can gum up the middle a little bit more. But right now, if they're just killing you on the arounds and those big swings, start making them throw it inside. As for offense, chill, right? You're down a lot of points, and it seems that every time Sauer is getting the disc turnover, or if they just receive it, they're just, not panicking, but throwing with such urgency that they haven't noticed that it's not a good shot, or it's a really hard placement to get a complete pass. Just relax a little.
Oswald was going deep, but that is a backfield turnover.
Once again, just a throw right away from the wrong side. You need to step around, get that flick, chill out, but that was a rush throw right into the ground, right?
LaBerge. That throw bounce, can they keep it alive? Just in and out of the hands of Riel Lefebvre. So Sauer gets a reprieve, at least for now. And as we say that, a drop there, stone cold from Caldwell.
That's just unfortunate.
And that's not going to help your cause if you're Sauer. Howard. That was almost like a split and send, kind of near the end zone.
Pick called, though.
Clay, you're going to go on your rant about picks in the vertical stack. Is that what
There's
you're
no
do?
rant, Theo. Everything is just fine. These things happen in ultimate. You know what? To their credit, end zone's way harder. If you set up a long, extended vertical, you can really get away from this. You can set up some bigger cuts. When you get into the end zone, you've lost that backfield, right? You can only set up the stack as deep as you want. Picks are also, one funny thing about it is picks are happening in a vertical. What it usually means is teams are willing to have players come out of the center of the stack, which is unpredictable, right? It's really easy to guard. Well, not easy to guard, but it's really predictable for the front and the back to make moves. Where if it's the middle, you're probably going to get picks, but you also can't really see it coming as a defender.
Howard finding Dyer. Excuse me, that was Chatilly with it. Inside shot. And Shati now on the reception.
Saj just adapting to, well, what I wanted to see on defense in the end zone there from Sauer was that Sauer immediately tried to stop the arounds and get in the way, but Saj showing some pretty good throwing skills for those insides, and the cutters recognizing where the force was to try and get the disc just moving up the middle. So an easy switch for them.
Coach Clay, I need to talk to you right now.
Okay.
Because I need you to put, I mean, you have your commentator hat on. You need to go coaching hat right here. How do you manufacture energy and just positivity? Because the scoreline is the way it is. I saw Sauer in the background trying to say, hands up, let's keep it up. But things are just not going your way. At least as of right now, things obviously can change. But what do you say as a coach in this moment?
Right now, I put my most positive, as well as the top end of my roster, on probably a mix-up. My players who are like, I'm ready to go, I don't care, and tell me that. We can do this. No one who's frustrated, no one who's down on themselves right now, but you're going to back that up with your chilliest handlers right now. But I would also take account of which of my handlers, even if they're my best players, are having a consistent struggle. If they've had one error, no big deal. Shake it off, get out there. If they're constantly making these quick choices and they're not working out, I'd say, I want you to sit. I want you to support your teammates. Give them the way that they're going to have to get this around for a minute. Tell them what to do, but they're going to do it with a different energy than you right now.
A bit of confusion potentially on the pole coverage. That's going to be scooped up. Roberge with the block has a couple players poached off, but will settle for a safe reset instead to Howard. Roberge again. Howard and Roberge playing a little pitch and catch. Gabriel Ouellette now going around. Layout attempt comes up empty from Shauna Howard, but great effort though. Try to keep things alive. One turnover apiece on this point. Trainer grabbing it, gonna go deep. No one there guarding Delaney. No one home, at least for that moment. Hayden now. Sauer needs to see this disc in the end zone. Big loopy shot from Samantha Dennis. Trainer two-hand strong with the grab, stopping the bleeding a little bit here. You throw it up to your tallest player on the field, you get the score. And we talked about, I used a boxing analogy earlier, I'm going to use a basketball one now. Sometimes as a shooter, you just got to see the ball go in the net. For Sauer, you just need to see one score.
You just need
now, you're like, hey, we got to score. Let's put some pressure on the offensive line. They've been sitting for a while. Let's just try to do something. We're playing with house money now with the score and the way it is.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
I'm not condoning any sports betting here. I'm just saying you're playing with house money.
No, good analogy, though. On offense, I'd say, I just had another thought, too, when you were asking me earlier, like, how do you bounce back on offense here? I have noticed that Sauer's pretty locked into their handler versus cutter kind of mentality. With their offense, I would say I'd want them to pretend they're playing against the zone all the time, get more players involved in front of the disc with shorter passes. They tend to leave their receivers down the field. They're putting a lot of pressure on the handlers to get it done right now. Run a dominator. Put 4 or 5 players in front of the disc and just play some pitch and catch as if it's a zone and get those poppers in there. Just do something so that you can get on a run and make Saj adjust. But, of course, to do that first, we're going to need to see some pressure here from Sauer to really lock down the speed and what seems to be the immediate adjustments to any force that's thrown against them out of Saj here.
Trainer back out on the field. Going to be on the mark. Going to try to provide some trouble. Pilon resetting it. Saj trying to be on the move here. We saw their good lateral movement. Things a little bunched up with the handlers, at least for now. Looking deep. Robert going up with 2 hands. Not in just yet. And we'll finish it off for the score. Finding Sabrina Baudet. But there is a call, so.
I believe number 32 off of Sauer was on the ground. That's Elizabeth Weld. So there seems to be some discussion. I'm not sure if it was a pick or a foul.
Yeah, I did see Liz Weld fall down there.
Oh, thank you.
But it looks like it is a goal, so Robert getting the assist.
better defense underneath from Sauer on that point, seeing a lot of pressure on the players. I think Sauer would do well with a little bit of a bracket, perhaps leaving a player deep, as you expect Saj to go for the Hucks, as they have lots of times this game. But also just having one or two players stand underneath and waiting for the cuts to come down the open side, or at least looking backwards and adjusting as the disc moves laterally. Because once again, I mean, when we're talking about adjustments, what do you got to do? While this is an offensive point now on defense, Sauer's got to find a way to cause Saj to look off passes, because honestly they haven't. They've had every time they've seen a receiver, it's been something they're willing to take. So can Sauer kind of get in the middle, cause some obstacles that the Saj players are going to have to make decisions on, and perhaps slow down their offense?
And it's impressive from Saj as well in terms of being a more provincial-based program, as in they have players from all over the province. That is sometimes tough to get some of the buy-in, or even just people at practices or practice weekends, wherever it is, tournaments. So great to see that they've been unified here and in their second year, just like Sauer, as they started out in zone and now melted into person, as Sauer getting things moving.
Just probably to stop a play, I was going to say. Seeing a vertical out of Sauer right now, I actually don't like this. Well, I take it back. Good to see some quick handler movement in front of the disc.
Good pressure there from Roberge.
Good no call there.
That was Barber, one of their top O-line players, trying to get the disc. Now can Saj take half 8-1? That's what they're hoping for right now. Disc in the hands of Gabriel Ouellette.
So seeing some Sauer players play last back here, which is great. Want to see someone underneath looking for the players to come down, and that pressure is successful this time as Sauer generates a turnover in the red zone.
Caldwell walking methodically to the disc. A little shimmy shake from Frampton, but that disc will hit the ground. Now, Saj looking like they were going to go fast break. Roberge. Nice high throw. Caldwell had fallen down, but perhaps just flashing the lane caused that turnover.
Yeah. I want to see Sauer stop. I want them to cease trying to utilize the IO backhand for little passes. That's been a turnover for them constantly, and they've tried to go over the top of the zone a few times.
It worked the first time.
It worked the first time, but on other points too, that's been causing some turnovers.
Roberge with the disc.
If our camera's shaking, our tent has just left the building.
Yeah, we can't see what's on the camera, so whatever you're seeing, you see what you see.
So getting a little windy.
Yeah. Oh, that was tipped by Barber as Saj was moving it pretty well. Things are falling everywhere here in
We're
Waterloo.
fine. Everything's still plugged in.
I mean, I'm still seated. I'm still seated, Clay. You're still seated, so I think we're okay. This is dangerous. High release backhand. Good effort and run there from Alex Nelson. But now Roberge looking to attack right away and does just that. Finds Laberge for the score. They hug in celebration. And that, you have to say it, Clay, that was as dominant of a half in a final that you'll ever see. 8-1 the scoreline. It's not just the scoreline per se, it's how it was done.
Oh, absolutely. It is so clear that Saj is in control right now. They have the energy. It doesn't matter how many points they're up. You can see that their heads are all in it. That's some real great mental discipline. Faster than Sauer right now. And what's clear is that Saj has a game plan that they're executing over and over and over. And when Sauer throws any kind of thing in the way, they adapt immediately. Meanwhile, Sauer seems to be making the same mistakes over and over and over. The one I'm really bothering me this last point was popping the disc over top on that high release back end. Let's get some poppers in the zone. It's windy. Less long throws, more short throws. So I think we're going to take a break now, right, Theo?
Yeah, we're going to break here. You grab a drink wherever you are. East Coast time, I think. What is it, mid-afternoon there? I think they're like an hour difference. If you're in Quebec, you're still in this local time. Grab a beverage. It's a hot day out, at least where we are. We'll be back here for the rest of the women's final at CUC Masters in Waterloo. Second half action, coming at you. At CUC Masters, the women's division, the final gold medal contest of this tournament. Sauer out here on offense from Halifax, Nova Scotia against Sage out of Quebec, all over Quebec. Theo Wan here with Clay Howlett bringing you the action. As Sauer on the move. Like to see that renewed energy out of half. Frampton now about 10 yards away. Needs something as they try to squeeze into the end zone here. Gonna go cross field and nobody home.
I am unhappy.
Clay, you're banging the table. That's not a good sign.
Well,
that is not
I'm kind of trying to put my coaching hat on a little bit here, or at least
less color commentators.
A supportive spectator for Sauer right now, because I want to
Okay.
see them get back in this, right? You want to see the underdog succeed right now.
So do the fans in Halifax, I tell you.
But they marched it down real good, taking sure shots all the way down, and then they go over the top again. And the over the tops are not shots you should take right now. They are not working. They worked one time out of 12.
And it was the tallest player on the field, tennis trainer, coming down with that big two-hand dunk.
Yeah.
You remember that going left to right on your screen. And the prognosis there as well was two players were going up line. No one kind of filling for the reset. Things just really clumpy, and so Frampton had to do that.
Yeah.
But that's where you need the end zone discipline.
Well, that's right. I mean, if Frampton had no choice, okay. But why is she that in why is she in that position?
Howard trying to work with Roulette here as Roulette has ejected out of the handler space, and instead it's Roberge. Nice little inside shot. That's a hard throw to make, but Roberge was able to execute. Pick called. Roulette's jersey throw me off because no last name, but everyone else does. So it just making me second guess a little bit here. Number 70 in green. Howard needs something. Finds a teammate down Roberge. Roberge and Howard and Roulette been nasty handlers for them. Just really smooth with the disc as taking a tumble as McPhail. Is there a foul call?
No, everybody stopped out of concern or
yeah,
thinking there was a
like
foul.
that.
I mean, you want to make sure nobody's hurt. But it does disrupt the flow when that happens.
Roulette going smooth around. Finding Trudell, the southpaw. Inside shot. Howard zipping it in. Finding Beauregard for the score. So they get the break out of half. Does Sage.
So I've been thinking.
What are you thinking, Clay?
Well, you said 15 players are playing on Iris?
So, have played on Iris at some
have
point.
played on Iris.
That's
So
what,
it is the
that's what
pipeline,
Jean-Philippe Riopel told me. 12 to 15. I don't know the exact number.
So do players on Iris go from all-seeing to Sage and all-knowing? Is that how this works, you know?
Oh, no.
Going in eyes wide open in the senior division with a competitive team and then graduating to the experienced masters of the women's universe here at Canadian Nationals? Don't shake your head. I'm correct.
I know. It's just sometimes when you do the puns, I always shake my head at you, Clay. This is not our first rodeo together, so I've heard many a pun on the broadcast.
But they're all good.
You're right. It does mean it does mean wise en français, and Iris and Sage having that, sour, salty, Sage, Iris.
Yep.
I like that. Iris, I like that. You had cranky and crank, that kind of stuff.
Red
That's
Circus,
good.
Dead Circus?
Yeah, you kind of like that. Pull going to sail out of bounds. Give us a time to give a shout out to all the volunteers that worked hard this whole tournament. Volunteers behind the camera or doing scorekeeping or running water. There's just been a lot of hands on deck here for this championship. So let's give some love for them.
Yeah, volunteers at this tournament have actually been super fantastic. The city of Waterloo actually really did a great job of hosting us.
Explore Waterloo.
Yeah, Explore Waterloo, thank you. They did such a
Waterloo.
great job hosting us and came up with a really neat theme for the tournament celebration. Opened up a part of town, kept restaurants open so players could kind of hit the street and walk around town and enjoy lots of venues. Really great host.
And just knowing your demographic too, because I don't think all the Masters players are going to go out to a big dance party per se. They like the restaurants. They like hanging out with their teammates. So some fakes here from T-Camp. Initiates a reset, does so to Caldwell. T-Camp's fake's been really good. Now going cross field. It's going to work out. Nice grab under pressure.
That one's going to work out. I was curious if we'd see something like that, as we've seen that a lot in the corner for Sauer. I would prefer to see them work a lot harder in working it up to the break side. I don't want, like, if you're a Sauer player or if you're a Sauer coach, you're thinking to yourself right now, that worked. But that is the second time that has worked out of maybe 10 attempts. That false
That's
positive.
not the play call is what you're telling me.
It's not the play call. Shout out to Aaron Loach, second time today that he's reminding me about these false positives that teams can enjoy and think that that's the game plan. But Sauer trading points with Saj this half. So feeling a lot more confident.
Is that a clean hold by Mike? I don't think there was a turnover on that point, right? That was a clean hold there, Clay?
You know what? I think so.
Someone maybe on YouTube can rewind back the film, but by my account it was. Points start to meld together, you know, in this long tournament. But either way, for Sauer, that is important. And they've have their defensive line on with Kelsey Hayden joining them from the offensive line. So they're seeing a need to push a little bit. And if you can get a couple breaks, you maybe start to put some doubt into this Quebec side. That's the hope. That's the hope, because their offensive line has been relatively untested, only played 2 points so far. LeMay working against the zone now.
40 minutes left in the game. You can make up a 7-point deficit in that time. Zone look from Sauer here.
Melt called though, so they're going to go into person. Robert, nice pass. Trainer was in coverage, but can't get it. Waugh now. You can see Saj's cutters. If they don't get it right away, they're looking to hit reset. Very smooth and methodical offense and been well disciplined in practice, knowing that's what they want. But as I say that, a miscommunication on the reset.
I don't think that takes away from the discipline. We were seeing that. Miscues are unfortunate. They do happen, but that's not timeout taken by Sauer, but that's not as if, you know, there was a problem with the plan, the problem with the, you know, roles, responsibilities, expectations, if you will, from Saj. Just a mistake. You said Trainer was getting up on the stats for Sauer, is that right?
Yeah, I have to pull it up on my trusty device here, but Trainer a big target for this team. 18 points coming into this contest. 6
well,
assists,
usually
12
players
goals.
wearing number 95 do that, so
Are you a 95?
Obviously.
Oh. Shouting out your own team.
Self-plug.
Self-plug. I like that. But, Clay, as we look on the timeout, I'm going to say I'm not necessarily a fan of the timeout because you just had, I know it's on your side of the field, but you had Saj just have a turnover, and their offense has been pretty smooth. The other 2 0 points were clean holds. So this is the first turnover from the O-line. Let's see how they can play some defense. Let's see how they respond. Instead, you give them time to set, to possibly set a zone, to reset.
True.
I kind of like the D-line offense just driving and making them work.
It also could be the case that with the way the game's been going, the D-line might feel as if once they get, I don't know, they do need a little bit of a team meeting here to talk about the plans, as we know that, you know, if you're on D-line, you don't spend as much time honing your offensive skills, right? Maybe this was a, let's make sure we have all the ducks in a row here before we get down or get moving down the field, and we have 2 timeouts perhaps, so we can take one to do that.
And just like that, it results in a block going through his Melanie Waugh. Saj looking to attack now in transition. Lee waiting, then getting the jam cut. Low throw, scooped up. That's Robert. Pilon zipping in with the backhand. Not in just yet. A few yards away. You see that reset working well, but just a flubbed catch there in the end zone.
Yeah, Saj doing a great job of giving so much space to their throwers, their resets. The stack is waiting their turn and seizing the opportunities when it's there. It's just an unfortunate drop.
a short field turnover, going to give the Sage offensive line a little bit of room to work with here. A foul called on the mark.
Yeah, I think she just took a shoulder to the face there. Pilon, that is, took a shoulder to the face.
Not the forearm shiver, but maybe the shoulder shiver. Some discussion of the stall count. I think it should be 0 if it was uncontested foul, but things will reset here. Robert, kind of a loose mark by her defender. High stall. Not knocked away, it was close. But Sage will get the goal.
But Leanda Delaney's defense there was excellent, sealing out that open side, feeling very disciplined to stay on the open side of her check. And as her check went break side, I think she got a few fingers on that, and the tip was just not enough to break up that pass. But she was there. Everybody take note. That's how you play open side defense.
Third assist for Robert and second goal by my count from Baudette.
So we're at 10-2.
Still like that Dead Circus members are here supporting their team. You mentioned they won gold. That was a long time ago. That game started 10-15 local.
Yeah.
So
I'm seeing a lot of similar last names, and as happens in the Masters division, you know.
Oh, are there?
Yeah, I'm seeing a few. So I'm going to just go out on a whim here and say some of them are certainly families now, as you see that a lot in the Masters division, as lots of couples will bring their families here, and each one is playing on a team, maybe in the same division, in a different division. We saw in the mixed final, or in the mixed division, really, lots of couples playing together.
Oh, dangerous pass, but caught. Great focus from Caldwell. A Sage player on the field here. But for those that might not know, for Masters, for female matching players, you got to be 30 and above. I think it's the birth year as well, so you technically be 29 and play as long as your birthday that you turn 30.
Yeah, within
that
this,
year,
you
right?
have to be turning 30 that year. So there could be players here that are 29, turning 30 later.
And they're not frauds. They're just turning 30 that same year.
Yeah.
And then for male matching, it's 33. I'm in the camp that 30 is too young for women's masters. I see it in the U.S. series as well, when there was one team that had like all the top Brute Squad players that were still in their prime and just turned 30, and it was like, you know, a lot of their O-line players or things like that. So I think perhaps maybe the age should go up for female matching, but I'm not a female matching player, so I don't get a say. And other female matching players in the audience might have a difference of opinion.
It's true. I never learned about why the ages were set at that. I'd be curious to know.
Almost there, but it's going to be Sage with the reception.
Another 11-2.
11-2.
Theo, I think this would be a good time to mention that this tournament, I mean, we were talking about how Explore Waterloo is so gracious to us and everything, but also how the weather here has just been amazing on the showcase field. And this is our Discraft providing the discs for the tournament. They are sponsoring this field, so the Discraft and BE Ultimate Showcase Field, who has been providing apparel for all the staff and some kit for teams. They have a merch tent here. You can go down and get some tournament or non-tournament themed stuff. You can also go to their website and see what there is to purchase. Cold, having a very fun celebration on the sideline, supporting Sage here. They came second place. We've now told them to stop partying because we're on the microphone here.
Yeah, you don't know what explicit lyrics might come out of that. Party.
I heard their warm-up tape. It was filthy.
Explicit.
Yes.
We can't have explicit lyrics on the stream. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, I liked it. Some 90s rap.
Okay, a little
Pretty
B.I.G.
aggressive stuff.
A little B.I.G. in there?
Yeah, a little bit.
Was DMX
you know,
in there?
Ice Cube.
Ice Cube, okay. NWA, I don't know if that's is that 90s?
Yeah, maybe.
80s or 90s, you know.
We're old, Theo.
I mean, speak for yourself. Are you Grandmasters, Clay?
Next year?
Oh, man. Time has passed us by. T-Camp now. On their second goal, she did a lot of heavy lifting for them. Nelson now needs a reset. Nice shimmy move up the field. Things are going to halt for now. That's Hawkins. Often if your player's face guard on that open side, just go, keep going.
Yeah, even if you don't get it, you're just making space.
Yeah.
And I mean, if your defender lapses or looks at the disc, you can take off to the end zone and sometimes get a big OI reception.
And they're often trying to take that backfield cut, so if you can shimmy upfield and get a little nice open side throw. Gotta have throwers that can hit it, but gotta trust your teammates. Coming under is Carter.
I want to see break side right away. Good. Just
Turnover, but you're right.
That's the
break side
strategy they
movement.
need to employ.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Couple fakes here. And now it's Arsenault with it. Janique. Not sure if
Called,
that
but
was
a
a pick.
turnover.
But Pauline Calovios can't get that one.
2, 1, in play.
CCUM loading up the backhand with a fake. Inside shot slicing through over to Hawkins. Hawkins high stall, throwing this one up. And the edge not working out. I think maybe a little IO edge could have possibly got to the receiver.
Could have possibly, but what we didn't see was handlers clearing out and someone from the stack coming underneath into that reset space. Being able to attack space where you want a swinger dump to go. If you're going to look upfield for 8 stalls, you're going to have to end up throwing it into coverage.
Beaudet keeping things alive with the up line. Scotty Bolver putting up this backhand. Will this stay in bounds? It is going to trail out.
Liz Weld was within millimeters of getting that. He's seeing huge amount of effort. The Sauer, number 32, still putting it all out there for her team. Pylon marking where the disc comes in.
4 observers in this game as a hand block there. Toutai. Skrotsky Bolver thought about it, now resets safely. Rancourt's throw. Thought it was going to be too high, but it's going to be caught by Beaudet.
Beaudet, the intended receiver the whole time.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep. But look, such a dichotomy there after that turnover. Sauer not finding the breakthrows. They don't seem to have any plan to play a little bit of one-on-one throw game. We often call that 3-person or 3-man at practice, where you just practice and breaking the mark to get a break shot off and moving the disc to the uphill side of the field. We can see players, they're just starting to get frustrated. They're not seeing, especially in the handler core, not seeing what they want to see. And you feel for them, but at the same time, there's been no adjustment by Sauer this game to say we need to attack the break side inner handler core way more. It's up the line and over the top, up the line, over the top, and it's working maybe an 1/8 of the time. And the majority of the turnovers are coming from that space. So just not seeing throwing adjustments to the conditions or the defense that Saj is throwing, and just trying to just force a game that you're almost a little too comfortable with is not panning out here for Sauer.
And at times when you're not as battle tested because of the competition you're able to take down earlier, sometimes this can happen. And we had hinted at the open which team that would happen to. It seems to be Sauer, at least for right now. They're trying to inch their way back and have to cut through this zone if they're going to do so. Nice little lefty move. That was almost dropped. Frampton now. Fire called. Spervallo. Working a little give-go. But just escapes the right hand. Saj will get a block. Been really impressed with Shauna Howard.
Yeah.
Been very lethal in the backfield along with Roberge.
A workhorse. So fast, hasn't stopped working all game. See her now just in front of us with the disc.
I mean, that's why you see them on Team Canada Masters Women's.
Yeah.
Trudell finds the aforementioned Howard, 45, and that throw going to evade the right hand of St. Cyr, who's going to take an injury, it looks like. And you see both knees kind of taped up there, so when you hit that hard on the grass.
Yeah, earlier in the tournament, she didn't even have her cleats on. I saw her in a lot of games just wearing her runners. So she probably just suited up for today or perhaps just this final. I believe her partner, Eric Prezot, wasn't here due to an injury himself. But he would have been playing with Ensom had he been here. Both members of the Team Canada Mixed Master Squad.
That's really fun. That's a fun connection.
Really fun, yeah.
McPhail on the mark here. You can see a lot of players biting because they have hit that break side so often. So that's how you set it up. Howard, two hands.
Oh, look.
It's like a where's Waldo. It's like, where's the pick?
You
said it, not me, Clay.
I know. I will wear that. Theo, I've been thinking, I wonder how this would go, like if this game had happened earlier in the tournament. If Sauer had met Saj earlier in the tournament and then had the game going in this direction, if they had another chance, would have had time to make the adjustments. Sometimes that's what you need against teams, is that one practice run against them, but you can't guarantee that in a national tournament.
Trainer on the mark, going to be called for a foul by Robert, who's giving up a lot of inches here in that matchup. Actually, love the WFDF signals here, hand signals.
Oh, it makes our life so much easier. Theo, do you happen to know, had these teams played each other prior to this tournament, this season?
Oh, off the top of my head, I'm not going to be able to answer that. But I don't think so. Someone in the chat might tell me otherwise. But Sauer was definitely not a fishbowl, so. Nice little inside shot going to work out.
I mean,
Robert's on the reception.
Delaney, again, showcasing some really strong defense. She immediately dropped to the side and tried to take away that around, but Saj easily and immediately adapts and just throws the inside. But I do think that's the better option, as they were just getting dominated in the first half with the arounds.
Back to one of the points, I want to circle back to something I made earlier, which was you can see the marks and the players downfield really biting on any backhand fake because of how much this Quebec-based squad has been punishing that part of the field.
They
so
established
they're like,
it.
They established it, and now you have to take it away. You have to take it away. And that can leave room for those scoop cuts on the open side much easier.
That's right. And you don't want your offense to be called out by a defense, basically the defense saying to each other, listen, they're not going to throw it deep. They're not going to throw it around. And I would argue that perhaps Saj has noticed that Sauer's not throwing it around. Sauer's not going through the lateral breaks, right? So they can really collapse and put tons of pressure in the up lines and be ready for the over-the-tops. They're not really guarding the around because there's just never a look for it.
And conversely, when you're a team, let's say, I'm not saying these two teams, but in Ultimate in general, if you're not hucking it deep, there's going to be a lot of people sitting under. So you have to establish certain parts of attack. It's not even just to make it happen. It's just you have to just threaten it as well.
Yeah, show that you're going to do that.
Throw behind Barber there from T-Camp. Saj, this is basically a lot of their offensive line players. Isa, LeMay, Pilon being two of them.
Oh.
And sometimes the bounce is just not going your way. Not in right now from Toutan's throw.
You feel bad. That was good defense. Unlucky bounce. And Saj marches that in within one of the title.
LeMay finding Robert for the score. Like Liz Weld and some of the Sauer team is trying to just find some energy for the team right now.
22 minutes left in the game.
Weirder things have happened. That's all I'm going to say. That's what Halifax believes right now. Weirder things have happened. Claire, I want to give you a shout out because have you been on every game?
Every game this tournament, yeah.
Is that true?
Been on the mic. That is true. It's been a lot of fun. Yeah, I hope.
But it's a lot of speaking. So
it's a lot
do
of
you do
speaking.
speaking for your day job?
Yeah, I'm a teacher, so I do speaking for my day job.
Oh, but
I figure so. So most teachers, if you don't know, we love the sound of our voices.
but it's summer right now.
It is
So
summer.
you're not teaching tomorrow.
No, so I did not teaching tomorrow. I can relax on my way home.
Are you flying home tomorrow or tonight?
No, I'm flying home tonight. You know,
to sweet Victoria, British Columbia. Is that right?
Victoria, British Columbia, where the weather is a lot like it is here today. Zone look here from Saj. Sauer electing to go the huck to their tallest player.
Good block there in coverage. And thank you in the chat there. Sauer, this is their only tournament, Clay.
Their only tournament. Wow. Okay, thank you, those watching, to give us that intel.
Yeah, I didn't see them at No Borders, so that's right, because Salty was there.
So that does give us an indication that, you know, Sauer hasn't had a chance, especially when they had an easier run earlier in the tournament, not being challenged really until this game, to, except for the vintage game, to really, you know, like, be in this position and make some adjustments.
Things slicing and dicing for Saj. This is their championship point right now. Riel Lefebvre moving things over to Debro-Leduc. Worley working hard to get the jam cut. Backhand fake from number 70. You can see the head fake. Hey, go left. Go to the break side. That's what I'm telling you right now.
Well, Saj has been doing a great job of utilizing that break side, so they are deciding to not take the unders, which could be tight, and instead really pushing players to get somewhere where they'll gain some separation. Oh. Elbow to the eye socket.
No, that is not a forearm shiver. That's just the elbow. That's just a direct elbow right there.
Yeah. Sparavallo goes off. Can't see who on Saj.
I don't think Saj is taking injury.
No, but the player on Saj, I can't see her number, but immediately indicated that was on me. Yep.
Yeah, I got the
Yep,
jersey
that's
tuck in. We can't see the front number, unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh yeah, their numbers are super low.
Love the logo though.
Yeah, me too. They've had stickers and everything out here.
Did you get one?
No.
Tough.
I'm kind of disappointed.
Commentator's not getting the love. That's tough. That's real tough. The one who was hit, Sparvallo, coming in to discuss what was happening.
Oh, just verifying that.
Yeah, exactly.
Did indicate a foul, yeah.
Ouellette with the disc. Stacy Carter on the mark.
Sheila Quintos making sure that we know what stall count we're in at here.
Nice little inside shot. LaBerge not there just yet. Israel Lefebvre, and there you have the final score. Saj, your champions in the women's master division, they're celebrating a huge victory, 15-2. I don't think anyone called that, Clay, but what a performance from this Quebec-based squad. Just from start to finish, they got the clean hold to begin the game, and it's just been a lot of breaks and just really strong defense and then strong D-line offense on the turn.
I don't want anyone to think that Saj didn't earn this. Their game was so crisp. You can tell a lot of work has been put into the choices they're going to make, kind of their flow chart of what they're going to do, the discipline they had in the end zone, how hard they were working. The score indicates how hard this team played as a group, how much they supported each other, and just that athletic and mental focus that they had this entire weekend, specifically in this game. They really did look like champions out there.
What a game from Saj. Sauer, I know the scoreboard is the way it is, but nothing to hang your head about because you had a great performance to get to this point.
Your only tournament of the year? right? You're here, and this is the only tournament you're playing this season. You're going to play second at Canadian Nationals. You've got a pretty special group of people to pull that off. I mean, you look at Saj, and like you said, they had a full season, or have been having a full season. They've got lots of players that will be continuing to play throughout the year with Team Canada, perhaps in the senior division. I'm not sure how many players will play with Iris or other groups in the senior division, but you know, the ladies on Saj are going to continue playing throughout the season, where Sauer just seemed to come together for this tournament. So second place, first tournament of the year, pretty respectable. And really happy to see, too, that team keeping their spirits up with each other despite the score.
That's going to wrap up this tournament. Clay, since you've done all the commentating, I'll let you put a bow on it. Just summarize the whole tournament, what you saw out here.
Whole tournament has been so entertaining. I know, like, we make comments on the stream about it being Masters, but the sheer athleticism that was shown at this tournament by so many players here was just so impressive. The way everyone knew, respected the rules, and utilized the game to keep things going. It was such a competitive and fun tournament to watch, and really cementing Masters as a true division in Ultimate. So really love to see that. And lastly, I just want to say the facilities were fantastic. We were so privileged to enjoy everything we did here on the traditional territories of the neutral Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee people. Explore Waterloo really set us up for success this tournament, and thank you to all the staff at Ultimate Canada, the volunteers, and every other member in the stream team and the observers for making this tournament great. Theo One and Clay Howlett signing off. Thanks so much for joining us.